everybody knew about it. You know, that was back in the 80s. I think it was 84, around in that area, 83, 84, right? And these Brits had this jet-powered car, and they were running the Black Rock. And we had been out there a total of 5 times to see the record run, and it would always get aborted for one reason or the other, right? And so we made a lot of trips out there and never really got the car to seeing the car run, right? So they finally got the things worked out on it, and I think they were doing some of the pre-running and not hardly letting anybody know. But finally, Danny Lewis came by my shop, and he's in that picture. He's the one that's holding his heart. And came by the shop, and he goes, "Hey," he said, "they're going to go for the record today, for real." And we'd been out there 3 times, 4 times. I thought, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, they're going for the record." And this was after the Cannonball. And man, I'm telling you, after that Cannonball, there was no way I could go down the highway unless it was flat out. It made a big difference, okay? And I had built this BMW for my wife with a big motor in it, 530, right? And so I said, well, we'll take the BMW. I'll get the BMW, and we'll run out there in that instead of his truck. So then Charlie from Vista Auto Body, the one that ran the Cannonball with me, he wanted to go, and his body shop was on the way out of town. Then my dad comes by the shop about the same time. Now he wants to go. So there's 4 of us. There's Charlie, my dad, Danny Luce, and myself. We jump in the Beamer, and we're running a little late by the time we get everybody gathered up, right? So we head out across the desert. And I'm running this Beamer flat out. May have run about 120, 25, 30 maybe, you know, in that area. It had a pretty good motor in it that my motor guy built for me. And so we're coming into Gerlach between, there's Gerlach, and then the other one is Empire. We get through Empire, and we know we're running a little late, right? We get to Empire, and we're flying. And there is nobody on the road. Nobody in Gerlach, nobody in Empire. You see no cars nowhere. They were all on the Black Rock, lined up for over a quarter of a mile going to see this attempt. Everybody had their lawn chairs. It was an event, man. So we're flying. Well, we see the train coming across that flat. And we're going straight. We see the train over there, and they start telling me there's a train. It's a big, long train, and I'm running flat out, okay? And it's straight. You go over this dry lake part between the 2 towns, and I'm thinking, I got this train beat. I got him covered. So as we're smoking in there, I'm concentrating on the train. I'm sure I got it covered, right? But I didn't have it covered by that much. Maybe a couple football fields at most. And I had done committed. I had to go, right? And all I'm thinking, I'm going to beat this train. Well, it was close enough that the wigwags, what my dad called them, he called them wigwags. Hell, I don't know what they are. But they had come down. Okay, right after the train tracks, there's a sharp left-hand turn that turns into Gerlach, right? Well, when the wigwags came down, they kind of blended right in with the guardrail that's on the other side of this turn. And I knew the turn was there, but I figured I'd get the train beat, get on the binders, and make the turn, right? Well, with the wigwags down, by the time I saw the wigwags, we were on top of them, okay? So I slammed on the brakes and the nose of the car dove right before I hit him, and we blew through the wigwags. Broke the front window out of the car.
Just a huge explosion.
Oh yeah, glass everywhere, right? And Danny Lou said it was like being in a real horror movie. He had to keep his eyes open. But he wouldn't ride back with us, right? He got a ride back to town with Reviglios were out there. But anyway, as soon as I shot through the wigwags, you couldn't, the window's gone, right? I mean, it was a safety window, so it was shattered. You can see it there in the pictures. I just pitched the car sideways and climbed back on the gas. And we literally drifted through that corner and went right through Gerlach. There was nobody in Gerlach.
How fast do you think you were drifting through that corner?
Probably 80, 75, 80. Left big, huge skid marks. It was a Hail Mary move. You know, those are one of those moves you make and you hope for the best, and it's got a hell of a bank. I remember the corner was banked really good, so you can go into those pretty good if you know what you're doing. But I had pitched it, got into that corner, and I literally went through Gerlach and never stopped. So we're on the other side of Gerlach, and my dad's calling me a stupid asshole from the whole time, right? He's yelling that from the back seat. Everybody's screaming. They're going, "Are you going to stop? Are you going to stop?" I said, "It's still running, man. We'll stop when we get there," right? So we get to the turnoff, okay, and they got the road blocked. This kid does. About a high school kid probably in Gerlach. He's got the road blocked with his truck, about a 52 or 3 Chevy farm truck. He's got the road blocked. Well, he's on the fucking Black Rock. It's flat, both sides of him. So I pull up there and I stop and they go, "The Black Rock is closed." I said, "But you don't understand." I said, "We're from the press." I said, "We're press." And he goes, "Press?" And I said, "Yeah, like press on, motherfucker." And I just stomped on the car, drove around the truck, and headed to the Black Rock. Well, you drove he jumped in his truck, but there was no way he was going to catch us because we just flew down, you know. So we get down there, and I end up parking the car by Western Nevada's trucks because I know all those guys. I thought, okay, and I seen how many people were out there. And these Brits were fucking fuming, okay? So I park over by the semis. I've caused all this dust. Everybody's lined up for the watch the car run, right? And the whole town, Gerlach Empire, everybody that was even out there was there. It was like a whole city out there. And the kids were playing with their toys, you know, and everybody was lined up in their lawn chairs. We get there, the Brits get there to me, they meet us pretty much at the car, and they're pissed off, man. "What do you mean you're from the press?" I said, "I'm from the press." "What press?" I said, "I'm freelance. I write for them all, man." I said, I'll make you famous." And what? He just walked away. All of them just walked away. "You could have aborted the mission." I said, "We're here, and we didn't cause no problem. This dust, the dirt, could abort the mission." I go, "Okay." And they pretty much left us alone. So now everybody comes, looks at the car. Well, the windshield's all broke out of it, right? So I had a buddy of mine, Don Wardle is his name. I think he just died recently. But he was this little guy, but just tough as nails. He was a roofer. Well, he retired from his being a roofer and built a house out in Gerlach. And that's where he lived. And I built wheels for his car that he hunted arrowheads with. And him and Dinky was his wife. Great guy. He did all my roofing, right? And I knew he was out in Gerlach. I said, "I got to find Wardle, because Don will know how to get us off this Black Rock where I don't get on the freeway to go back, right? And there might be a way out of here other than going to the road," because I knew they were going to be waiting for me, okay, when this deal was all done. Well, they ended up running the car and setting the record, okay? And it was so impressive. Oh my God, to see a car run across that desert was, it was wild. So I find Wardle, and that's the guy who took the picture. Don Wardle took that picture of us all leaning against the car. My dad, and Danny Luce, and Charlie, and myself, right? He said, I got to see this. I got to take a picture. And thank God he did, because I got proof of the story, okay? Because most people didn't believe it, you know? And so I see Wardle. I go, Wardle, I said, the highway patrol's going to be waiting for me. The cops are going to be waiting for me when everybody starts coming off this desert. Is there a way I can get off this fucking desert? And he had the Baja Bug that I built the wheels for, and he goes, yeah, he said, I got a tow rope, and he said, it's all sandy bottom. You're going to drag on that car a little bit maybe, but he said, I can tow you out of here. But we'll run the riverbed where the water comes in to fill the dry lake. He said we can exit it right behind my house. And then we'll put the car in my garage. Because we're going to go to Bruno's and party tonight. I mean, we partied till 5 in the morning, okay? But with all of them, everything, it was just a great time. So, sure enough, when they get done running around, everybody starts to leave. Wardle says, come on, let's go. And we drive to the far end of the dry lake into this river bottom. And it was mostly sand, a little pebble rocks, but nothing big. And we ended up going down this wharf. She never had to tow me because we kept on going, you know. There was a couple times it was dragging. I just kept my foot in it. And we pop up behind his house. So he takes his car out of the garage, and we put the Beamer in the garage so it's hidden, right? And Wardle says, we got to go down. I got to go down and look at these wigwags. I said, okay. He said, come on with me. I said, okay. So we jump in his Baja Bug, and we come down from his house, and it's right there it's the houses to the left if you go through Gerlach. He had built one of those, real nice house, and big shop and everything, and garage and all that. Anyway, we go down there. Well, he knows everybody that's working on the railroad. So he's rolling down the window, and here's these skid marks through there, and he just starts laughing. He says, you crazy bastard. He said, I can't believe you did this. You even got, how fast were you going? I said, I think I went through here at about 80. I don't know. I said, I was running as fast as it could go. I said, I sure as shit wanted to beat the train. And so he rolls down the window, he's talking to these guys, and he knows them all, right? He goes, what happened here? He said, we don't know. He said, all we heard, it was some kind of red sports car running at a really high rate of speed, and it went through both of them. And he said, you see how he got through the turn? He goes, we don't know what happened. There's no sign of him anywhere. They're looking for him. They're looking for him everywhere. And Wardle goes, well, I don't think you're going to find him. I go, Wardle, shut the fuck up. I'm thinking to myself, you know. So we end up going back to Wardle's, and he tells everybody, he said, sure as shit he did it. He goes, you can't believe those skid marks. So when everybody went back to the bar, they went and seen the skid marks at the other end. But we ended up partying with the Brits and everybody at Bruno. The whole town was there. It was just a gigantic party. And I think I got home at about 5:30 in the morning, right? My mom's calling because my dad was with me. Come on, Stash, you can come on up here. You're going to be famous. Yeah. Anyway, my mom had been looking for him, calling my wife and everything. So finally, when I got home, everything was fine, right? So I go to sleep. I wake up, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. My wife's there. I borrowed a car. I said, we need to put a windshield in your car. She goes, what'd you do to my car? What'd you do? What do you mean we need to put a windshield in my car? Because I had just built this thing for her, and it was her pride and joy, right? She said, what do you mean? I said, I think it was a bird. I hit a bird, I think. But it broke the windshield, and, we got to put a windshield. I have a windshield in it today. I'll get a windshield put in it today. Okay, and I kind of go back to sleep. I mean, I'm tired. About 10 minutes later, she had went out in the garage. It was separate from the house where I built all the cars. We had a spot in there for her car. She comes back and she goes, jumps on the bed, gets on top of me and sits down and looks at me. She said, okay, I want to know what the fuck went on. I said, what do you mean? She said, that's no bird. But it just put a little dent in the rear view mirror, but those wigwags, when I hit the brakes and dove the nose, the windshield took it off. And there wasn't a scratch on the car. You see pictures in the pictures, right? I said, well, I started explaining. She goes, what did you do? What did you do? I want no fucking bullshit. What'd you do with my car? I said, well, a train was coming on down this way, and I was going straight, and she looked at me and she said, you raced a fucking train with my car? And your dad's in there, in the car? I said, yeah, but honey, we had a beat. I mean, there was no problem. We were going to, and she beat on me a little bit and said, you're not going to drive my car ever again. So plan on it. Don't even ask me. And I didn't for shit. I guess I didn't drive that Beamer for a good 6 months. And, but yeah, that's a land speed record story, and it's what happened, and the picture proves it.